All right, this is an experimental design problem, free response question 2019, problem number 2. So, some major things here, I think, that was College Board's attempt at really clarifying some of the specific ideas that you should have about the definitions of the parts of an experiment. So, let's take a look at that. Here we go. So, first of all, on this was the problem about the mixture that they were hoping to control the spread of the insects that destroy the trees. So at first, asked for the treatments. No problem there. You had to do all of the treatments, or you had to indicate something about all of them. If all you said was the fungus mixture, if you just said fungus mixture or the mixture sprayed in the thing, sprayed on in the container, no go. You had to reference multiple treatments, so all of the treatments, plural. So there were 4. It was the 0, 1.25, 2.5, 3.75 milliliters per liter of the fungus mixture. All right, so in order to get credit on that, you had to identify 4 concentrations of the treatments, and then on the next piece, this one is the one that would have definitely gotten me. I probably would have gotten marked down to partial on this idea about what was the experimental units. I probably would have said that the insects were the experimental units. All right, because in my mind, that was who was receiving the treatment. But yet, the experimental unit, so I went and looked up a definition, the objects subjected to a specific experimental condition. So technically, based on the way this was organized, was yes, the insects get the experimental condition, but it's the insects in the container that do. So if you had said something such as the 20 groups of insects or the 20 containers with insects in them, but the groups of insects was the correct answer because you had the treatments going to be placed on those groups of insects. All right. So that probably would have gotten me. Now, then the response variable. You had to say some kind of quantitative word, such as what you were measuring. See, in each container, you were going to be measuring. In fact, don't forget to let the prompt lead you in your phrasing of your words. So it says right here, well, the group of insects in each container will be sprayed. So there again is why the experimental units are the groups of insects, okay? But as far as the response variable goes, look, the researchers will record the response, which is the number of insects that are still alive in each container 1 week after spraying. So you could have gotten both the experimental units and the response variables worded straight from the problem. In addition, the treatments. The researchers will create 4 different concentrations of mixtures, those 4 things there. So that sentence gives you the treatments. This sentence gives you the experimental units. And then this part of the sentence gives you the response. Okay? All stated exactly there. All right. Does it have a control group? Explain your answer. And they actually did not require that you said yes. If you had said the containers that got the 0 milliliters of fungus mixture serve as the control group. So I did both because a lot of times that gets the student. So yes, answered the question. It does have a control group. The container with the 0 milliliters per liter of the fungus mixture is the control group. And it says explain your answer. I guess I went ahead and said so that we can see the impact on the insects in the container without the mixture being tested. Now, let's see. Let's go look at the grading guidelines for that. So here was this. By the way, so if you got all three of those components correct, you get an E. If you only got two of those three in that first part, you got a P. I probably would have, because I probably would have said my experimental units were just the insects. But anyway, we'll move on from there. Here are also a ton of little if this, then this counts, and if this, then this counts, and all those kinds of things. But if all you said what, so look at this. This is really, I kind of jumped ahead before going to here. If in the last component of the response being measured, all you said was insects alive in each container, that's not acceptable. The number of insects alive in each of the containers. So had to have a quantitative word referencing that. Okay, and so then now on to that part B. It's essentially correct if you indicate there is a control group and justify this by saying the control group is the one where there is no fungus mixture. All right, if you say that's the one with no control group, because if the response indicates there is no control group because everyone is sprayed with some kind of mixture, that's partial credit. If you say there is a control group but implies the 0 milliliters per liter is not a treatment, so like you say, the container with 0 milliliters per liter form a control group because they don't receive a treatment, then that actually knocks you down. Interesting. Yes, there is a group that got no treatment. Yes, there is a group that got no treatment, also knocked you down. Interesting. They did get a treatment. It just had 0 milliliters per liter of the active ingredient in the treatment. Okay. So that was interesting. Man, that's a lot of specifics on that. Okay, so let's take a look at the last one. So this last one also, this was a tough problem to grade. Describe how the treatments can be randomly assigned to the experimental units so that each treatment has the same number of units. So what that means is essentially we need there to be 5 containers that are randomly assigned a treatment. Okay. Now, so I said I did the big bag thing. I need 5 groups of insects to receive 5 groups of insects to receive each treatment. So I put the numbers 1 to 20 on the containers. I put the numbers 1 to 20 in a bag, shake them well, randomize the numbers, pull out 5 numbers, and they get assigned to the 0. The next 5 numbers in their containers get to assign to that, and so on. If you had said that the insects were the experimental units right here, and then you randomly assigned, say you put all the insects in a big bag, shake well, and then pull out them equally to each of the containers, all right, each of the 20 containers. So say you had done that. That's okay as long as you then also say that, let me get to that point where it says it, because man, you need to look at the information on this because there is a ton. So look right here at this last one. If the response randomly assigns insects to the containers must be assigned a treatment, one of those chemical mixtures, to satisfy that component 3. In this case, the assignment of treatment to the container doesn't even have to be random because your insects were randomly assigned to the containers. So if you put all the insects in a big bag, shake well, and you pulled them out and you put them evenly into the 20 containers, and then you gave 5 of the containers each one of those treatments, you did not have to random assignment to the containers. Now, this is actually interesting because look, If a response describes two different random assignment procedures in detail, for example, how to randomly assign the insects to the container, and then how to assign containers to the treatments, both descriptions are scored according to the three components and the lower score is used. So if you did both of those assignments properly, you could get full credit for a component 3. If you properly described the random assignment of the insects to a container, but you were not very clear on your random assignment of the treatment to the containers, then you would get lower because one of them was not so good. And so then you would be marked down. All right. So lots of stuff on that. Man, that was a tough one to grade. And then, of course, the regular thing about the EEE. And then, so if we were doing that, we had the EEE for that part, and then for the this one EEP, and then here, two parts are essentially EEI, and then you can have one or two parts are partial. So that's your EE or EPP or EPI. Okay, and then of course the last one for number 2 would be PPP. All right, and then finally one part is essentially correct, so that's your EEI or PPI. All right, so there's how you get your credit. Man, but that one I'm telling you is a tough one to grade because people got marked off for a ton of things on that one. All right, so good luck to you. And hopefully we can learn something from how specific they want information on those problems. All right.